and the party he's interacting with says, I got a Taurus, I'm going to sell it for $2. So it's simply to show the ease with firearms involving a case with a number of violent acts and his access to firearms. That's why the state wanted to include this.
Hey, Mr. Adams, what do you think about this?
Right. And so what we have ultimately is that there is no evidence, none.
So then there's several pages of business records. That's just showing?
Your Honor.
What is that?
So this is Instagram. At the top of every page is going to have business record, but these are Instagram threads.
Okay.
That the remainder of this PDF is various conversations.
Okay.
That Mr. Ryan is having.
All right. So, Ms. Bossi, if you can direct me to whatever the next page is that you have objection to.
Your Honor, it's going to be the next few pages, which are the number at the top is 400 through 404.
Okay.
I don't believe we have or there will be any sort of identification about who the conversation is between besides Mr. Ryan and another person. Our understanding from the state is this is about selling firearms. And I don't know how that is relevant to this case about Mr. Ryan selling firearms.
All right, and I see that
ultimately
some of these things are
there is
highlighted.
no evidence.
Yes, Your Honor. So the highlights, it was to make it easier for both the court defense counsel to follow what the state feels is significant, because the way that Instagram returns come in, you can have multiple threads on different pages. Okay. And so it goes by time of when you get an incoming request. So it can get kind of confusing to follow, because it's not just a conversation between Mr. Ryan and one party, it's embedded with others. So the highlights are, I may have missed a couple, but it's to orient. Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, and so there's a relevance objection.
Yes, Your Honor. So this is in a similar category in regards to, there is a number of references to FYE when it says sell me a fire, the state, that is a gun, firearm. There's a number of these in the Instagram. The state wanted to include some of these so that these photographs of guns, it's him talking about actual firearms. Sometimes, and I'm not saying this argument has been made or will be made, but in terms of for the jury, his internal discussions about real firearms, right? Instead of maybe they could be a prop, or maybe they could be, these photos we're showing, that this is just showing he has access to and is talking about.
Right, but we're not talking about the photo right now. It's as I understand the relevance objection, it is what is the relevance of him proposing and engaging in conversation about a transaction to buy or trade firearms.
Yes, Your Honor. So in this case, in regards to count one, it's maintaining armed individuals ready and willing to preserve, protect, and enhance the reputation through the use of violence. It also includes, ease and access to firearms. And so the fact that he is, casually discussing, because this specific one, Mr. Ryan is talking about, give me $250 for my Glock. And the party he's interacting with says, I got a Taurus, I'm going to sell it for $2. So it's simply to show the ease with firearms involving a case with a number of violent acts and his access to firearms. That's why the state wanted to include this.
Hey, Mr. Adams, what do you think about this?
Right. And so what we have ultimately is that there is no evidence, none.
And I can see the court's chagrin, but that's why the state wanted to include this.
It's not chagrin, but I doubt maybe as to the relevance of him wanting to sell a firearm, if that's what this is reflecting.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yeah, I'm going to grant the relevance objection. All right, what's the next?
Of course.
I grant the relevance objection. All right, what's the next?
I'm sorry, Judge, they've taken out a few photos or a few parts since the last time we
Okay,
discussed it.
that's- yeah.
Making sure I only talked about the ones which are relevant.
Appreciate it.
413. So I think we get up to 416. There are going to be a number of pages in here which it's just Mr. Ryan saying slat or just one phrase. And I guess our question is exactly
waste
how
of
many of
time.
these do we need? Because we've got
403.
some
God
images, we've got multiple conversations. How many times do we need to just see the same one word or same one phrase to establish that these are phrases or words that Mr. Ryan uses?
Okay, so I see the one that starts on 416.
Correct,
Is
Your
that
Honor.
a multi-page thing? Or?
It is pages 416 and 417.
Okay.
And the state, again, has whittled down. In the Instagram, there is a lot of reference
Okay.
to these terms, but the state wanted to include some because these are private, direct messages.
Okay, so this would be this two-page
Correct, Your Honor.
correspondence.
And so it starts
That's a
at the
great
bottom
theory,
of page
Jennifer.
416 where instead of the S, it's the 5.
Right.
And it says slat, and it's between Mr. Ryan's Instagram is slime business rod,
It
and the
says
person
flat.
he's interacting with is maniac
lat.
with an X instead of the C, Rolac. And so that Instagram handle, I do not know exactly who Maniac Rolac is, but Pete Rolac.
I'll let him build his case, but we're going to use this Instagram, but I don't know who it belongs to, but you know, and with he saw
Have
it
you ever had a
on
dream
the
that you had
Black, Sex Money Murder, founders of that street gang, that Instagram
It's a
handle
burner account.
stands out, but nonetheless, it's just to show, and the state's not intending to do this 100 times. This is the first time we've discussed it where Mr. Ryan says slat with a 5, and the person responds, what's blazing twin? And then Mr. Ryan says he's basically just hanging out, but he's replacing certain letters like C's with B's. And then the other guy responds right side, and the right side is significant. And so
What?
this also has, so yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so that one's the first time we're seeing it, so
come on, Judge Whitaker.
that one can come in, and then I don't know whether they're going to be more or not, but
Thank you, Shelby.
my ruling might be different if there are more.
So, Judge, from there, we move over to page 467, which is where we have a message between Winnie Lee, who was the speaker or the person in the first few photos the state wanted to show the association, with Mr. Ryan saying, "Very yacht
Celebrity.
slime, WYA, you good."
We're going to withdraw that, Your Honor.
All right, they're going to withdraw that.
All right.
They tried it. Oh, Joshua, I didn't know you were from Detroit. That's dope. What up, though?
Judge, the next one is going to be moving up to the Instagram page number 512.
Okay. And, okay, what's the objection?
So this 512 through 514 is a conversation, I guess, between underscore free Juju, who I don't think we know who it is.
Oh, I know who Juju is.
It begins on page 512. 513 is a conversation where Mr. Free Juju says, you know, the N-word you robbed named Booley. They're talking about some sort of conflict, allegedly, that Mr. Ryan had where he robbed somebody. We feel that's entirely too prejudicial to come in. And the conversation about it continues with Free Juju being the speaker.
So, Your Honor, this thread goes from Instagram pages 512 to 514. And the state does not have, so just, I'm going to follow this thread because to orient the court. So it starts at the bottom of page 512 where Free Juju tells Mr. Ryan he's got to tell him about something that happened today. And
Right.
Mr. Ryan's like, well, what happened? Right. So the state has no problem to redacting the word robbed. He's referencing someone that Mr. Ryan had previously robbed, but the state wants more so that he's talking about a specific person named Bully. And then Mr. Ryan's like, yeah, I remember the guy I robbed. And then they go further. And so what this individual says is Tobias had got caught for an X, which the state believes is a gun, while he was walking on the back street back from school.
Right.
And then, long story short, this individual Bully draws down on him, as in brandishes a firearm at him, and he's telling Mr. Ryan that Tobias was scared. And so, in response to that, you go down to 514, and Mr. Ryan says, "Were y'all striking on Cleveland? Striking typically can be going in to break into cars and steal items." And he's like, "No, we weren't breaking into cars. We were walking to school smoking, and we saw a gun on the seat." And then further on, what Mr. Ryan responds to that in terms of the person letting someone draw a gun on him and not resort to violence back is, y'all are reckless. Why did y'all let Bully draw down on him? Now y'all can't get bust down. I'm going to draw on him on slime. So it's, the state kind of wants these 3 pages for that last line where he says, I'm going to draw down on him.
That's a good
on
piece of
slime,
evidence
on
right
the
there.
game.
All right, so just redact
That's a good one.
thread, I guess. What are you, just redact, you robbed?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, well, that'll cure that objection.
That seems like a solid piece of evidence to me. You see, Ms. Love disappears and everything goes better. I don't know why Fanny said that BS in the
Judge,
email.
that brings us
Just
up
remove
to
love. Everything
page
goes smooth.
543 through 546.
Okay.
This is another, I believe.
I'm sorry to pause it. Wendell Taylor said DA Love is out applying for jobs at the Dollar Tree. God. I mean, Fanny can't fire her after that glowing email. How awkward would that be? Wendell, that's crazy. Yeah, you're wrong for
Judge, that brings us up to page 543 through 546.
Okay.
This is another, I believe, series of talking about, I guess, selling bullets.
Given your previous ruling, Your Honor, we'll withdraw.
All right.
Oh my God. Joshua Van Law said they're not gonna hire her.
All right, what would our next
Y'all
one
leave
be?
this love alone, man.
I thought they were taking 696.
Ooh, John says she's gonna end up
My
resigning.
notes in this, Judge, was that the state was going to withdraw 696 because we already had the word slat earlier.
Is that right?
On page 696?
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like all that is.
Yeah, 696.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay. Thank you.
Let's see. Okay. Yeah.
Y'all are wrong. Oh man.
Judge, this one, I think we had kind of.
I'm sorry, this one being
I'm
which
sorry,
one?
Judge. It's going to be page 778.
Okay.
Ms. Abbasi, in the court, for 778, the state, we won't use 778.
Okay. All right, and then is the next thing, 801,
We had no objection to 801.
and that goes, what, 801, 802, I guess?
802, we discussed with the state, they were going to redact out part of it, which we agreed to, and no objection
Okay.
with that redaction being
All
done.
right.
We're going to redact, Your Honor, at the very top, the first text on page 802. And defense counsel in the state talked about this.
Okay, as long as y'all are on the same page.
That's going to bring us up to
That is
819 and
Attorney Abbasi.
820.
Okay.
For Rodair
This is another one, we don't
Dalius
believe there's
Ryan.
any sort of connection to the gang and how this would be relevant. Again, this is with Free Juju, who we don't know who this is.
Your Honor, the state will, I'm double checking because,
Laughing at the reference to a Hello Kitty.
yeah. So he's basically insulting because the gun is
Yeah.
small.
Kind of funny.
So, Your Honor, the state will not be, I'm double checking because sometimes there's another thread that's captured on the same page, but we will not be introducing that
Okay.
brief back and forth.
All right.
Page 880, Judge, we feel that the relevance regarding to what the prejudice from this is, based on what the state's understanding of it is, which I don't think it's self-explanatory. Someone would probably have to explain what it means. But we feel it's overly prejudicial with respect to the minimal relevance.
All right, I think probably slide and sticks have already been explained, right? Through testimony already?
Correct, Your Honor. So the state wanted to include this just to show, it's one thing for the state to talk about it, but this is
Right.
an internal Instagram.
Okay. Overruled. What's next?
Love fled the country because she's about to
903,
get
904, Judge.
caught
This was another relevance about some people talking about going to Club Crucial.
Your Honor, the person that Mr. Ryan is speaking with is, the author is 05E and Drive Slim. That is Mr. Christian McMiller, Your Honor, who unfortunately passed away in March of 2022, and we believe is a YSL associate. So to show his connection with Mr. McMiller is why we have this.
All right, and have y'all already established who that author is, who that other person is?
We will be establishing who that is. We have a few Instagram posts with him and other individuals with this same Instagram handle, 05E and Drive Slim.
Okay, and this would just go.
And it may already be in, there's a picture of Antonio Sledge and him.
Okay.
And I believe that picture is in evidence, Your Honor.
All right.
I'm sorry, Judge. There's
ahead.
a photo earlier on which we did not object to with this same person, so the connection between them has already been shown earlier via photo.
Your Honor, but the conversation continues because this is one of the conversations in which you actually need to look at his conversation with Mr. McMiller and his conversation with Billion Dollar Pink. Billion Dollar Pink towards the bottom of, their conversation actually starts in the middle,
Milton,
where
save
he
us.
tells her, I'm on the way to Crucial, or OTW, on the way to Crucial. Then, I believe it's a she, bruh, who you with?
Page am I looking at?
903.
Okay, it must not be highlighted.
It's not highlighted.
Okay, all right, I see Billion Dollar Pink.
Yeah, so she's,
Bro, who you with?
bro, who you with? And then he responds to her, gang. So that coupled with him talking to Mr. McMiller about going to Crucial and who he's with, he's acknowledging that he is with gang to her. So these two conversations actually coincide with each other. So he's setting up going to Crucial with Mr. McMiller, and then he's telling the other person, when she asks who you're going with, gang.
Okay.
And this is relevant because
Overruled.
that's when the shooting took place, I guess.
The next ones,
Yeah, lots of 403 today.
they take it. So they. Okay.
Also, forget about Rico. Where's Ms. Love? I don't know. Somebody go find her.
This one, Judge, is going to be 940, 941. As far as relevance, and I don't know what the probative value is, this is another one, a conversation between Mr. Ryan and somebody, and we don't know who. I don't know how it's relevant.
So, Your Honor, this is where, when we started that post where it says love all of, and has the snake emoji, one of those individuals that Mr. Ryan, @ is Block Life OKKY, which is who he's speaking with. So it's someone he's publicly stated as a fellow gang member. And so what he says is, at the very top of 940, this individual, Block Life, says, talking about going to Club LaCroix, about to get dropped off at Big Nick's spot. Big Nick's spot is someone that pops up in terms of a location that that YSL members will go to or hang out at. So, and it's 2823 Waters Road, or sorry, 2830 Waters Road, which is the same house we've talked about to the court with the 911 call and tethered to the murder of Shamel Drinks and the back and forth. So also, if you follow this conversation more, Mr. Ryan in kind of the bottom of 940 says, Slime's gone from the store to the studio. And this person responds like, who? Mr. Ryan uses this term MAJA, but then if you go further, he's like, what studio are they at? And he says, last time I checked, they were at Club LaCroix with Dolly. And there's been testimony about Dolly being Dolly Greer, the sister of Jeffrey Williams, about 2 hours ago. So again, this is showing it references a couple of different items in a private Instagram thread of a location of Waters Road, referred to as Big Nick spot, and also tethers, because age-wise, there's a difference. And so it connects Mr. Ryan with other evidence in this trial.
All right, overruled.
And Judge, just to add to that, the part about who was with Dolly, that's not Mr. Ryan as the speaker. I don't think we know who that person is. I'm sorry, did I miss that? We do know who that is?
I don't know his name. I know it's the same person that Mr. Ryan @ when he says, love all my slimes. And then Mr. Ryan responds to that, okay.
Yeah. All right, thank you. Okay, what's our next one?
This is 950, 951. Seems some sort of spat between Mr. Ryan and somebody else. At the somebody else, I don't think we know who it is. So I don't know what the relevance of this is.
So, Your Honor, the state for 950 and 951 will not utilize that
All right,
thread.
thank you.